Hello, welcome. This is the Resilient Rooster. I'm back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and this time I'm gonna be doing a showcase for Raidraptors. So Raidraptors are primarily an XZ deck. They have monsters that can go into XZs, and you rank up these XZs with these spell cards. These XZs consist of basically two towers that are unaffected by card effects. They have one that can destroy all spells and traps. They have one that can attack all special summon monsters. They have one that can destroy any monsters by just targeting. They have a searcher, and they have good wing beast support, which is Ice Beast Zero Fin. This card basically negates all face-up cards on the field. In terms of the monster, they basically have an Armageddon Knight, which can just send a monster or send a card, a Raidraptor card to the graveyard. They have one that can special summon other cards from the hand. They have Lanius, which basically search any Raidraptor card. They have Fuzzy Lanius, which can special summon itself. They have a Booster Strix, which basically defends your Raidraptors from attack. They have a Singing Lanius, which is special summon for free. They have Pain Lanius, which can special summon for free and sort of a substitute. Then there's Last Strix, which basically can summon your boss monsters for free. If you have this card and a rank up card, you can basically make any of your rank 12s or rank 10s. Some of the rank up cards that Raidraptor have is Soul Shape Force, which can special summon from the graveyard and rank it up 2 levels higher. They have rank up Raid Force, which basically rank it up 1 level higher, and you can banish it from the grave to add a rank up card from the graveyard. They have rank up Magic Skip Force, which ranks it up by 2, and they have rank up Magic Revolution Force, which basically can help rank it up 1, and you can also use this as a trap card on your opponent's XZs, which is kind of cool. They also have good support for spells and traps, which is Readiness. Oops, I accidentally deleted it. But what Readiness does is it can protect your monsters from battle, and you can banish them from your graveyard to take no damage, which is awesome. Then there's Icarus Attack, which is good support for Wing Beasts. You target 2 cards on the field and destroy them by distributing 1 Wing Beast. And last but not least, they have Raptor's Gust, which can basically negate spells and traps. So that's it for the deck profile. Let's get right onto the replays. In this first replay, I'm playing against Penguin Magician. So since it's link format, you can't really spam out force tricks like you used to. So instead of doing that, what you want to do is you want to try to add Readiness to your hand or to the graveyard. You can do that by using Tribute Lanius to send it to the graveyard, or to send Mimicry, and Mimicry can add your trap card. So now it's my opponent's turn, and my opponent's playing a very strong deck. So they made Electrum, and now Electrum is basically going to help them make a lot of plays. So at the moment, all I have to do on my part is to activate Readiness on the right time. So I just have to watch my opponent. They basically have a lot of options that they can do, since Electrum is now a card. And they use their Violet Poison to destroy my Force Tricks. So now I can't use this card. Well, I can't use the card, but I have to use it in the graveyard. So I'm probably going to activate this during the battle phase, or when they have a response. So my opponent's going off, and they have a tuner, so they can basically make an Ignister. And now, since the Ignister is using the effect, I have to chain this card. That way it goes to the graveyard and not to my deck. And then they make a Abyss Dweller, so I'm going to just use my trap card. That way the Abyss Dweller can't use its effect and just stop me from banishing it. And at this point, they made a good field. And what I probably should have done here is I probably should have made Zero Fin to negate all his cards here, but I didn't do that. I probably should have made the Zero Fin first, but instead I was just going fancy and I used this card, which looking back, I probably should have done this play, but fortunately my opponent misplayed. They probably should have activated the Polynomial Graph when I go to the battle phase, because this card's not once per turn. So I was able to use this effect to detach one and just attack everything. And since my opponent has 4 monsters, 2 times 4 is 8. So I basically get game at this point. So that's the first duel. In the second replay, I'm playing against Lightsworns. And I basically have a similar hand in a way where I could basically make Force Tricks. And at this point, I probably should have added the trap card instead of the spell card, since I need to at least find a way to survive. But I felt like maybe since I had the Twin Twister, maybe I could be okay. So my opponent, they open up the Scorpio combo, and I now know when to use this Twin Twister, which is when they activate the Brilliant Fusion. So I activated it, get rid of the Brilliant Fusion. And at this point, I hope that they have no place, and I don't think they had any place besides probably a Snow in the Grave, but maybe they didn't have anything else. So I tried to activate or summon Vanishing, and then they basically set it down so I can't spam out monsters. So at this point, I just use my rank up card to make Revolution Falcon, and I attack. I didn't want to attack the Snow because I don't want them to use the Snow again. So now they made Lumina. They used Lumina to get Raiden, and basically I think they wanted to find a way to get out Raidraptor Revolution Falcon, because right now this card is sort of hard to deal with since anything that you attack basically makes it to 0, and I think it's permanent, so that's pretty cool. So at this point, my opponent, they didn't really have a good field. They did have a lot of cards in the graveyard though, so I'm sort of scared on that. So I'm trying to find a way to make Zero Fin, and here they activated Snow, so it stops me from using my effect. So now, since I know that I probably won't live, I searched the readiness and I just activate it. That way they can't banish it. So I thought that was a very smart play on my part. And I activate this so I take no damage, which is very good. And at this point, I don't think they have a Snow in the Grave. Yeah. So at this point, I'm basically free to do anything I want. And here I make the 4 Strix, I can search, and then I can use my spell from the graveyard, banish it, and add my rank up card back. And now since I make Falcon, I can basically attack everything. So at this point, I detach and then basically attack for game. In this third replay, I'm playing against Paleo, and I open up the Icarus Attack, which is a very good card. So now, since I know that I'm at least going to survive since I have Icarus Attack, what I did was I basically searched my Fuzzy Lanus since it can replace itself. So this one I just special summon it so that I contribute it later. My opponent opened up a lot of spells and traps, they set the monster, and during the end phase I basically try to get rid of all their back rows. So now they only have 1 card in their back rows, and at this point I just get my Fuzzy Lanius back due to its effect. And now I sort of go off at this point. I summon my Singing Lanius here, that way I can make a Buckshot Magician and just put it back to their hand. And at this point I just attack for a lot of damage. So far everything is looking good, and I basically try to use the effect, but I think they sort of activated this too late since I was able to use my effect. But the good thing is at least they have a monster. But they couldn't do much since I got rid of most of their back row. The only thing is I can't activate this readiness preemptively since he can change their trap card in the graveyard. So at this point I had to just play around what they have, but right now they don't have much, so I was just able to attack, and it's almost game. If I ran Cowboy, it would be game. They open up a Swap Frog, it opened up 1 window, but unfortunately 1 Totally Awesome is not gonna work as well. I baited it out by using booster tricks, and at this point I don't think there was a comeback that they could have made, so they surrendered. In this last replay I'm playing against Pendulum Magician, and I didn't open up well, but I did open up Last Tricks. So something about Last Tricks is you don't want to rely on it too much, but what it allows you to do is special summon any card in your extra deck for Raidraptors, and you can use your spell card to wake it up to Ultimate Falcon. So right now I have a big body on board, and I didn't make the Final Fortress Falcon because I felt Ultimate Falcon is more useful since you can reduce its attack by 1000, or you can make them burn for 1000. So I always like that effect. So they tend to go off. I have an Icarus Attack in the back so I can deal with any problematic cards, and I destroy the Astrograph and his fusion. I had to destroy those 2 cards because if I didn't destroy the Astrograph, his Astrograph could have attacked over my Falcon due to Violet Poison Magician's effect to increase by 1200. And at this point I was just trying to see if I could get a lot of monsters on board. He stops it with the Ash, and at this point I just try to attack him and almost got game, but I wasn't able to deal enough. But right now he's 1000 and he tops deck the Maxi, but the Maxi I don't think will help. He has the Astrograph Sorcerer, which can attack over my Falcon since he has the Violet Poison Magician. And at this point The thing about pendulums is they need 2 cards in scale to work efficiently. So I use my rank up card in the graveyard to summon Ultimate Falcon and just attack him for game. That's it for the replays. Something to keep in mind is, something about this deck is sometimes you can maybe open up too many spells and traps that are rank up and not enough monsters. I think that's my only biggest gripe of this deck, is that sometimes it's not even. Sometimes you want to draw all the monsters, but then you don't have the spells to rank it up, and then other times you just draw too many spells and you can't back it up since you have no monsters. But that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. If you want to follow me for daily videos, please click the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a great day.